Today I'm using Shortcuts a lot and I have taken on a request to cover the knife tool, 45-degree angles and making pockets all in one video. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to tackle is the 45-degree angle. So what I'm going to do here is click on the pen tool to start drawing a line. Now if I do that, you can see, whee, it goes all the way around. And it is simply a straight line and will stop wherever I click. Now on a Mac, if I press the Shift button, it will automatically go to horizontal, or if I pull it around a bit further, it will go to 45 degrees, or it will then go to the 90 degrees. I don't know which button it is on Windows, but I'm sure you can experiment and find out. Then you click again and you press the escape key and there you have your line. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is make a very simple pocket. So what I'm going to do is make a 12 centimeter square pocket. So I want a 12 by 24 centimeter rectangle. I'm just going to take the color out of here because I prefer to do it without any color in. Now I'm going to resize it to 12, click off of that and put in 24. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put in my score line. So I'm going to go to the shape library and over here I've got horizontal line. I just find this so much easier. And I can just make that 12 centimeters and then select all of it and put it in the middle. There we are. Now at the moment, if I click on this and I go to my wrench, I've got it set to a cut line. And if I click on this one here, that is also set to cut. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is a rather strange thing, you might think. I'm going to set all of this to draw. Now there's a reason behind this madness. If when I set everything to draw, I forget to set certain lines to cut, when I do my cutting on my machine, it's only going to draw the lines. And that means if I need to cut it afterwards, I can just set a line to cut and I can cut it. If I set things to cut and I forget to set things to draw, then I could end up with this cut in half, which I wouldn't want. So if you think you're going to be prone to forgetting that, set it to draw, and then if it doesn't work, you haven't wasted your paper. I need to add tabs on this side, and this side in order to make it assemble. Now the easiest way of doing this is to actually make another rectangle. Now this is 12 by 12. So I'm going to want it probably to be maybe 15 by 15. Let's have a look. And let's go to my sizing and alter this. 15 and 15. Oops, I forgot to uncheck that box. Let's go for, whoops, type in the wrong thing. There we go. And let's take the color out of this again. None. Right. Now what I would do is I would center that side to side for my main base. So go to this and center it. That's centered to page. Let's just check it's centered to selection. It probably is because I suspect I already had it centered to page before. So the previous drawing will be centered to page and therefore that will line up. Now I can do a couple of different things here. I'm probably going to want the flap up here to be a little bit bigger, but I won't necessarily want it to be this shape. However, what I do want is for this to be raised so that it's going to line up, basically, just need to set that down one, there we go. It's going to line up with that center fold. Okay. Now, if I don't want this shape here, it's relatively easy to cope with and make it different. I'm going to put this down. So it's about there. and I'm going to make this slightly squat. So you want to make sure that the keep proportions is off, and I can decrease the height. And there we go. Just move it down so it lines up. Right, there we are. Now you think you want to angle these. Now, one way of angling would be to put in a line that goes across there, but there's an easy way of doing this. Why make life difficult? Just draw any sort of rectangle like that and go to copy and paste and put one on that side. Now this one, you want to make it rotate that way, and this one you want to make it rotate the other way, and the bit which is in the middle, or your base here, you want to lock. So go to Object and Lock, because you don't want that affected. Right, now all you have to do is to put that so that it goes across this corner here, and put this one so it goes across this corner here. Now make sure you've got it going right the way across the edge, edge to edge. All right, and you can group those. I'm going to copy and paste them as well while I'm at it. So I've got another lot, and I'm going to turn that lot so that it goes downwards. All right, I'm going to move these out of the way at the moment simply to avoid confusion. Now that these are grouped, all you have to do is select that and go to Path, Back minus Front. And as you can see, I've trimmed the corners off of here. So now I will pull these two and I will put them in the same type of position. I think I need to move that ever so slightly to the right. Yep, that's it. And do the same thing again. So we have Path, Back minus Front, and I've now got the shape of the tabs and my top tab. Now I've deliberately left this one quite narrow because there's a way to reshape this however you might want to reshape it. Maybe I want this tab, the opening tab as I'm going to have it as, to be rounded off or something like that. So go to my shape, go to rounded rectangle, and I'll do it over here so you can see it more easily. I've got a rounded rectangle there, and I'm going to make that 12 centimeters wide, and it's going to be approximately the right size. Now if I wanted to, I could make it so that was rounded there, or I could make it smaller and I can have it as an addition to, needs to be smaller again. I could have it as an addition to that part of the flap, so I can add it onto that if I want to. So if I do that and I center it up and then go to Path Union, I've now got a more interesting tab shape. Now I'm going to have to unlock everything for the moment because I need to move it. So unlock all, edit, and select all, and just going to move it down the page a little bit so I can work with it. All right. And now I can go to my basic rectangle shape and go to Object, Lock. You can do this in the Layers tab over here if you want to, but you know, it's a matter of choice. I do it whichever way I feel like at the time. And I'm going to do another rectangle, but that one's got too round an edge because this corner radius is too big. So I'm going to take the corner radius down to make it more of a sort of rounded one. There we are. I'm going to center that over here, and then I'm going to go to Path Union. So now I have the outer shape with a nice tab on there. I've got my sides done. Everything is looking pretty good. However, if I were to cut this at the moment, I would be in pieces, obviously, all over the place. But there we go. So I'm going to edit, unlock all, and actually I'll select it again, and I'm going to make it a draw line. So it's all going to be drawn at the moment. If I send this to my cutter and ask it to cut something, it won't cut a thing. But the basic lines are there, and I just need to set whichever ones I want to either cut or to draw. So obviously all these in here we want to draw. This is where this knife tool comes in, because you take the knife and you cut across the corner like so. You hold it and you drag it until it's in the position you want, and you release. Now it doesn't look as if it's done something, but it has, so do not fear. Okay, there we go. And now we can break apart. And I can take away one of these lines, because there's two lines on that center now. And this line here, if I click on it, come on, pick it up, is set to draw, which is correct. Now I'm going to change the color of this to a, what should I? I'll set it to green so you can see very clearly that it is a different color and it's been sorted, everything's been done. This here, I want to set to draw, and it is, so I can change the pen color back to the green so we know that's done. Now at the moment I'm having this drawing as well, which I don't. Let's break this apart. It should break apart. And this bit here, I want it to cut, and I'm going to change it to color, and I'm going to put that to black. There we are. I can take this shape here. If I go to object and hide, again, you can hide it in the layers menu if you want to. And take that one, go to object and hide. These lines are all lines that I want to cut, so I can select the entire lot and check that I have it set to cut, which I do. I can now go right click and I can group them. So they are all grouped. I can go to object and lock. So nothing is going to happen to this. So I go to show all, and then when I select that, I can check that I have everything set to draw, which I do. Okay, so I can now object, unlock all, take the entire lot and group it. All I would have to do is to put a slit in here for this little tab to go in. And what I need to do is work out where the slit needs to be. Now I've put in a short line, which is a bit wider than this. And I need to work out what the measurement is between this top edge here and where the tab is going to go. So I need to use my ruler. So if I align my ruler with the base of that tab and go down, try and make sure that the angle, which is in the grey bar above, reads 90. And take it down to the green line. Get it to read 90, and the distance is 2.72 centimeters. If I put that to the bottom of the selection. So select this and object, transform, move. I want relative position. The X, which is left to right, I want to put in a 0. And this one I want to put in minus 2.62? I think it was. And apply. And that has moved it up to approximately where it needs to be for that. Let's just measure that one again. Did I have 2.62 or not? Gosh, can't believe my memory is so bad this morning. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, I can move that closer to that. I can move it that way, just a fraction, and the tab will still actually work. If it's too far up the other way, it won't. but I can move it that way. Now, the one thing I would say is the reason to make whole shapes is so you can do the subtraction. If you have open lines, you can't do that in the same way. And I find making shapes, outer cut lines with a shape which is already closed and then subtracting shapes from it, far better and far easier than doing it with just lines that you try and join up. This is the tabbed pocket that I made. I have made a couple of very minor tweaks to the file and I'll explain the reasons for it. Now, in this one I have just a slit and it's actually quite difficult to get the tab in there, so I figured I would give that a little bit of an offset. So I gave it a very tiny offset. I also have put a little finger tab in here and I took a couple of millimeters off of the bottom of the design. I then altered the position of the slot very, very slightly, but I'm pretty happy with the result and it's quite a useful little tabbed pocket. If you wanted to send someone some very small gifts, like, you know, if you were sharing your craft supplies or something like that, or if you wanted indeed to put small dies in there, you could use it for that. It's yeah, pretty nice, and it can be made out of an A4 sheet of card. And I always use pieces of card that I think would be really difficult to use on the front of a card, for example. So I have a sheet of feathered card. I couldn't see me using that in any other way, but for something like a box or a pocket or an envelope, it's absolutely perfect. I did put in a window and I put some acetate behind it. The file will include the window if you don't want it or you want to change it. That's entirely up to you. You can take it out or make it round or whatever shape you so fancy. There we go. Tabbed pocket, not difficult to do, and I hope you'll give it a try. If nothing else, please try using my file. At least it will be something that I've done of use. Take care now. Bye-bye.